Are you here or are you here, my people? We are starting the show. My people, welcome back to U&I Talk Show. Ausares, Louise, Uwacu in the building. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. How you doing, my people? How you doing? Thank you so much for being here, my people. Welcome back to U&I Talk Show. Your favorite host, my people, Ausares, Louise, Uwacu in the building. Today is the day, my people. We're going to talk about Survivors Uncensored by Uwariraraye, the team, the authors, my people. We appreciate them telling their own stories, my people. Welcome. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I hope everybody is great in your own lives. We're doing great on U&I. So today we have the authors of the book. We're going to celebrate 1 year, my people, 1 year after the book was launched. This is a book that has at least 100 testimonies of survivors from Rwanda, people who survived genocide in Rwanda, genocide against the Tutsi, genocide in Congo, genocide against the Congolese, genocide against the Hutu, all these tragedies in the Great Lakes, my people. People assembled together over 100 testimonies of these survivors, and they call themselves Survivors Uncensored because, as you know, we are dealing with a criminal dictatorship, the criminal dictatorship of Kagamistan in Rwanda, my people, which censors the testimonies of people who survived. And yet, in our culture, in the Rwandan culture, in the African culture, in the human culture, the whole purpose and the whole point of surviving is so that you can tell the story, my people. You survive so you can tell the story. And if you survive, no one else can tell your story better than you. A lot of stories have been told about Rwanda. So what about hearing from the people who lived it themselves? So today we are celebrating this book that was written and that was published a year ago. So it's already been 1 year on the market. So we're going to ask the authors how the journey been, everything they've been through, and what's next. I encourage everybody to get the book. It's in English, it's also in French. So this is the English version. We started in English and then we're going to continue in French. It's called Survivre par la parole in French. So we're going to bring in one of the authors. Let's start with Delphine Yandamutso. She speaks English. She is all the way in Australia. Delphine Yandamutso is one of the authors. Let's remind people who are the authors, my people. Claude Gatebuke, Eric NGOGA, Marie Aimee, Delphine, Uwamwezi, Yandamutso, which is the lady that we have right here. She has the longest name. Oh my goodness. And then we have Alice Constance MUTIMUKEYE. We hope we're going to see her later on. And Rugaba Patrick NSENGIYUMVA, and David NDAYAMBAJE, Herve Oscar NYANGOGA, and URUJENI Genty. We're also going to have Clement Babazi on the show. He's one of the people who testified in the book. Delphine, welcome back to U&I Talk Show. How you doing?
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here. I'm doing great. So it's great to be here. Thanks again. It's always a pleasure to be here. I love you. I love the work you do. So you are very inspiring. So thanks for having us.
Welcome back, Delphine. So I've seen many pictures of you. I've seen, like wonderful stories about your journey, traveling, book signing in the USA. After this book has been launched, you've been to
Yeah.
events where you live in Australia. Like, how has it been, and how has it changed your life to be involved in this project? And 1 year from since its birth, like, you're one of its mamas. Like, how has it been for you?
Oh, it has been great. It has been great. And I think until you testify, until you tell your story, then you cannot know how it feels. So it's, I mean, since the time we've started publicly sharing our stories, like over 3 years ago, it was a relief in terms of, we used to have all this burden. Like, personally speaking, I used to have this, thinking, walking, and as if someone is like, people can see it or hear it, but they couldn't. So talking, being able to speak publicly, it was a big relief. It was a big relief. And once we put the stories in a book and the book was published, it was like a very, very good achievement, like the greatest feeling. So the journey has been great in terms of the response, because there's so many survivors who are unable to speak, who are unable to share their stories. So seeing them being inspired to actually talk and to be able to feel free to share their stories without being afraid or ashamed or feel judged. So it's been the greatest feeling, and it inspires us to do more work in that space. Yeah.
Wow, congratulations, congratulations. Oh
Mhm.
my goodness. Let's bring in Mr. Gatebuke, Claude Gatebuke in the house. Let's hear what he has to say about this. Mr. Gatebuke. This is how Americans say his name. This is I discovered how they say his name on another show that I was listening. He was a guest. And then they introducing him as Mr. Gatebuke. I'm like, what? Who is that?
Oh man.
Welcome back, survivors uncensored. You are the one of the loudest noisemakers out there. Make some noise in the history of noisemakers.
Some noise. Make some noise.
Oh, you've made so much noise all the way now to writing an entire book. Oh my goodness. And sharing so much testimonies, people making noise. So we appreciate it so much. So how has it been for you? How has the journey been for you? And like, what is it that you are, give us a little bit of a recap, a little bit of the recap of this 1 year madness crazy. I've seen you all over the place. Give us a small recap.
So I don't know if you can actually hear me because I switched my microphone as you
Yeah,
were.
yeah, yeah, we hear you perfect.
Okay, okay, that's good. So I think Make Noise has shown why it's important to actually make noise. Mr. Make Noise Ali Bongo, who really, went from dictator to activist and say, "Come on out and make noise." And the book has been making some noise. Um, I will say you were one of the inspirations. For many years, you kept telling me, write a book, write your book. And for me, it's been one of the best things out of this book has been actually sharing the book with others, with all these 105 others, or even more, because some of the stories that are told, actually almost every story that's told represents multiple people, not just the one person telling the story, but also others. So that's what's been really the biggest and most important aspect of it is, just having this shared experience and being with others who are also liberating themselves. As I 100% am driven by liberation, like people liberating themselves and helping other people liberate themselves. So the reception was as expected from the Kagame stand, from the dictatorship in Rwanda, from its fans and from its sympathizers. it was received negatively, but as sometimes Kagame would say, we don't give a damn. I hope it's okay to say this. I know this is a TV show. Um, but also, what really has also emerged is that every person that decided to share their story, basically say, to hell with it. I'm not going to let somebody else tell my story. You say that in your introduction. The best person to share the experience of what they lived is the person that actually lived the experience. And that's what we did. That's what has happened. And seeing other survivors come out of their shells, being able to share their stories, being excited to share their stories, being excited to share stories in languages that, of course, many of us do not even know how to speak. I mean, this book has been presented in every continent, and except for Antarctica. Sorry, I have to be accurate. Antarctica has not seen the book yet, as far as I know, but maybe it has. Um, Seeing the fact that it has also opened up the ability for people to start a conversation, to say things that they normally didn't know how to say, and how to start, and how to share, and they're able to share all of that. That's been the most important, and that's been the journey. And also seeing like all of the achievements so far out of the book, that's been the cherry on top of the cake. But the most important was really getting the stories out, and we're going to continue to do that. We're going to continue to push the stories.
Absolutely, absolutely. So fascinating. One of the most horrifying stories, well, all the stories that people share are so horrifying, by the way. I need therapy when I'm reading this book because there's so many crazy stories,
The
right?
book is
And then,
therapy. The book is therapy for the survivors. So
yeah,
thank you for
the
reminding.
book is definitely therapy for the survivors, and it's also teaching compassion because you get to hear other people's stories. You think you have suffered, and you're the only one suffering, but then you discover so many other stories, right? I'm gonna bring Delphine back in for this, see maybe if she also has something to say about it. But one of the most horrifying stories, speaking about women, because we had Onana last week, and he wrote the book about Holocausto Congo, and he talks about how much they abuse women, they rape women. And then here in the book, we actually have a testimony of a lady who went to help the RPF, who joined Kagame's army uh, movement to help them because she supported them and she was one of them. And then what she discovers is terrible, because women who go to war, they get abused. They go there to help, to support the movement. They're the sisters of the soldiers who are fighting. And yet they get abused, they get sexually abused, they get used, they get harassed. And then she goes and she actually speaks to the leader. She speaks to Kagame about it, and then he says that he knows, but he allowed it to happen. It was so terrible for me. And then it kind of makes me think, okay, this is what Rwandan soldiers are doing to Rwandan women who support them, who join them to support them. If this is what they do, and their leader allows it to happen knowingly, then of course they're gonna go to Congo and rape women savagely, and their leader knows and allows it to happen because they have already done it to their own sisters.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you think about this, Delphine.
Honestly, it's I cannot even imagine. I'm actually, I don't know. It's unbelievable. For sometimes people think it's fiction, but it's actually real. Some people have suffered, have been abused, like seriously abused. I cannot imagine, but at the same time, it's not surprising. I mean, hearing what those so-called leaders have, orchestrated or organized or ordered, it's not. It's sad. It's terrible. It's horrifying, but it's not surprising. Which is why when we're talking about these stories, as sad as it is, as hard as it is for survivors to tell, but it's liberating for them to know that they've told someone and they've taken that power back. The power back in terms of people who have abused them, people who have done all these things to them. They wanted to, that's the worst I think you can do to a human being, and that has taken their power away. So them talking, it's liberating, and it brings them their power. I mean, the left of it, and they can start moving forward. They can start rebuilding. I mean, it's not easy. And during this journey, we've had so many like horrifying stories. Sometimes there was this lady who was testifying, and I had to sort of switch off the voice for a little bit because it was just too intense. So exactly, you were saying we need therapy after this, after hearing this, after journeying with survivors, and then you sort of come back a little bit, like you slowly listen, you slowly compassionate about what they've been through, and it's amazing to be able to help them through the healing journey. Yes, it's not easy. I don't even know how to describe it, but it's horrible. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the work you guys have done. You guys are the authors and the initiators and the creators of this movement. And what I've seen from you guys' work is how wonderful it is when you get together and then when you do these events, people come and they're so happy. They're just so happy to be there, and you can see real joy. You can see people who are just happy to be there, sharing, listening to you guys. Everybody is happy that, people have dared speak up and tell their own stories. And I think it's motivating so many more people. Claude, so what's happening? Are you getting more ladies because of this?
you know, let me see. Let me tell a story. So I once it's been years. So I was in an argument with a person that I was in a relationship with, and then she go. So she started, like she was basically saying, "Oh, you're not. Maybe you need to get somebody else, or you need to get another person, right?" And I was like, "Well, I can even handle the one, so why do I need to get more?" So with the book, there's definitely a lot of the success of the book has been very helpful in getting more lady journalists covering the story. So let me put it that way. There are more ladies covering our stories, and that's a good thing. There are also more ladies who are, which I think is a wonderful thing. There are more ladies who are speaking out, because up until, if we look back 4 or 5 years ago, there were rarely and barely any women who were speaking, other than loud people like you, Louise. There were very few people speaking out. But when you look now, even you look at this story, you look at the book and everything. So yes, I'm getting more ladies to talk to me and to talk to others and to share their stories. And I'm happy about that, because I'm also getting to share their stories and to really learn to be even more compassionate. Because I do think, like the story you just told, I think some of the worst, the most horrible crimes are the things that happen to women, and of course also to children. But it just seems like when it comes to women, it gets even worse. And getting more ladies to come out, getting more ladies to share their journey, getting more ladies to shine, to getting more ladies to free themselves, to liberate themselves, and just sharing a platform for me it's been a blessing. It's been also liberating for me, in terms of just seeing other people liberated, helping and being a part of the journey, and them also helping me be liberated, because the more of us that do it. So this is a back and forth thing. It's not just, I'm not here helping others, they're also helping. We're all, it's all together. We're doing this together. And, I'm reaping the benefits of having so many people come out and speak, because it's also therapy for me to see people do that, to hear people's stories, to hear stories that I can relate to hear stories that other people relate to, and also to know that what they're saying, there's so many other people who would love to do this, but they are in a place, in mostly the ones who are in Rwanda and in countries that are near Rwanda, that if they share these stories publicly, they could get in trouble. So for me, more ladies, definitely, the more the merrier. Happy to get more ladies telling their stories and sharing their stories and liberating themselves and liberating the rest of us.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Delphine, what's coming up next? What do you wish to see moving forward? What are the plans? Well, I can't even ask you if you got more guys because of the book.
Maybe you should ask. Maybe she should tell us.
She's not gonna say because she's married.
There's a lot of work coming, and I mean, there's ongoing work in terms of, talking about the book, promoting the book. But most importantly, I would like to see more of survivors coming out, speaking, breaking that silence, being liberated. As I said when we started, until you speak, until you free yourself from that burden, from that story, then you don't. I mean, sometimes you can feel, the urge to do so, but once you do it, it's the best feeling. It's amazing. So I would like to see more survivors speak out. I'd like to see more people like you guys providing platform, encouraging people to write, to talk, to share their stories without being, ashamed. There's a history that we've been through. We cannot change it. We can accept it and can move on. So I would like to see more people coming out, more people healing, because as we know, talking and getting that out and sharing your story the way you've lived it, it's healing. It's part of a healing journey. And when we heal, we perform better in every sense of the word. The work in terms of the team, what we're doing, there's a lot of work being done. Some of the projects that we are planning included to have the book in other languages, starting with the Kinyarwanda. Everyone has been asking, starting with Kinyarwanda and other languages. So there's a lot of work being done or being planned. Obviously, lots of tours. Stay tuned, everyone. Will be like lots of activities in terms of book signing, book promoting, and also promoting the story sharing, because it's not just about the book. It's about being empowered to be able to share your story. Yeah, I can maybe get Claude to add more, but there's a lot of more work that's being done, and stay tuned. Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Claude, what's next? And especially, what do you need from the audience? How best can people support you? And what do you want people to do, apart from, of course, everybody get your own copy of the book, get the book, get it signed when they come to your town. If you can't read, or if you don't want to read, or if you've read it already and liked it, if you liked it, you could give it as a gift, give it as a gift, especially give it as a gift to people who are important, so that the noise gets heard by people who are important, decision makers. So how can people support you, Claude, and what's next?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that question. I think um, starting with you said if the person can't read, right? One of what's next, so I can answer two questions with one in one. We're also working on audio versions of the book, so audiobook, which for
Excellent.
yeah, if folks are not able to like hold a physical book, or are not willing to hold a physical book, and they would just want to listen to it while you're driving, you're cooking, you're eating, you're doing anything. You can still read the book. It's called reading the book, even though it's audio.
That is such an excellent idea. And as Africans, we have a culture of told stories, like oral stories. So that is just so perfect.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. The other piece to it is Delphine talked about it. We've got requests from at least 4 additional languages for translation besides Kinyarwanda. We're not necessarily, we don't know if we're gonna translate within the next year, so we're just giving the short term. For the next year, if we're gonna be able to translate it to more than Kinyarwanda, but we will select the additional languages to translate it to. So that's been also a request. Also, coming up is we would like to continue to bring together the survivors, the ones who have spoken and the ones who haven't, and the ones who want to be inspired, to continue to inspire. We're going to continue doing that, and we're going to continue creating those opportunities. As Delphine said, stay tuned. I saw not long ago where you were having an exchange about the next Survivor gathering. Stay tuned. That's also that's also coming up. And what we would like to see from the audience, and so it depends on what members of the audience we're talking about. One is, if you are, whether you're Rwandan or from another part of the world, tell your story. And if you would like for us to support your journey of telling your story, we're happy to provide the platforms for you to do that. But do tell your story. Make your story public. It's great. There are people in places like Rwanda who cannot share their stories publicly if those stories challenge the official narrative of the dictatorship. And we know that Rwanda is not the only dictatorship. Their dictatorships are very similar, and a lot of the world is under dictatorship. So people who are looking for a voice, not a voice, but who want to put their voices out there, we're happy to provide the platform. People who are in places where you cannot share your stories, do put them out. At least, give them to people who are trusted. I know it is hard to find trustworthy people, but do plan to have your story out, because when you die with your story untold, you're pretty much now adding to the number of casualties and the number of people that have died, whose voices were forcibly taken away. So do tell your story. And this is for anybody that's going through anything, but especially people who are going through genocides, people who are going through mass atrocities, people who are going through any level of challenges. The second is, read the book. If you can understand French or English and other languages that we're going to share the book in, please do read the book. The third is, share the book. If you have a platform, provide a platform. As I'm repeating what Delphine just said, and let me just take this opportunity to thank you so much, Louise, Ausares, for hosting us, for giving us a platform, for sharing this book with so many people, so much of your audience, and hopefully, one of these gatherings is gonna be, where you are.
Vancouver, Canada.
Yeah.
Yo, I had a deal to bring you guys to the studio, and then people disappointed me.
Don't worry, we're not giving up on that.
But I'm looking into. I was gonna have a deal, actually, an agreement with the studio, but now the agreement didn't go through. And now what I want to do is actually rent the studio and organize an event specifically for that, because we can also do that. I don't have to sign a contract with the TV studio, right? We could just rent a venue and organize an event and have people come out. We can definitely get it done, my people.
Yeah.
I support you. I started this journey by writing myself. I wrote my first book, which was my own therapy, just to get it over with, have my own therapy. Writing is therapeutical. And then as I found the benefits of how good it is to have that therapy of writing, the second book that I wrote, The Writivist, War is Right, is about motivating other people to write. This is the book you want to write. You want to tell your story. I'm like, yo, don't even ask me questions. Go and read The Writivist, War is Right, because give people motivation, give people tools, tell people how to write, and then tell them my journey into writing. So it was my journey into writing that actually sealed my journey into the media, because then after that, I realized that after you write the book, you need to promote it. You need to promote it. And it's so hard to promote a book. And many TV stations and radio stations, they don't want to hear from you, especially if you're not a superstar. They don't want to hear from you, right? So I was like, yo, who's going to get my people on television? I better do this job, because once you write, we need to promote these books, right? So we need a platform as well. So hence the journey of continuing on top of writing to create a platform as well, so we could amplify the noise, right?
Thank you
So
for
I'm
sharing
so
it.
happy and so proud of you guys that you did it. It's my duty, it's my responsibility to promote you, because you've done what I've been preaching. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. So let's get over the English section, and then move into French, because we're very limited in English on time. If anybody has like 30 seconds, goodbyes, please say them. And then we're going to move into French and keep loving and promoting this book, because I'm so proud of you guys. It's great work. It deserves all the praise and all the promotions and all the sales. We need to make it a hit, y'all.
Thank you so much, Louise, for this time. We're so proud of the work you're doing as well. You are so inspiring and encouraging for us to keep actually journeying. And I'm inviting more people to join, the work. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think I'm gonna use my 30 seconds to tell a joke. I was gonna get up and show how your book War is Right inspired me, but then I remembered that we are on video, So anyway, but I want to also thank you for the platform. I want to thank the educators, there's like more than 20 universities and more than 30 high schools where the book is now being used as a teaching material. And we would love for others to invite a speaker, invite the survivors, have the survivors share their stories, and please provide your platforms to them. Thank you, Louise, for doing that. Thank you, U&I Talk Show. And definitely looking forward to that day in Vancouver, a gathering with the survivors.
Absolutely, my people. All right, my people. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to continue the show in French. Get the book, my people. Survivors Uncensored for those who speak English, et Survivre par la parole for those who speak French. All right, my people. Let's move into French.